Charlie. Today is July 7th, 2012, and it is 12:48 p.m. And today I'm going to talk about self-harming. Um, Self-harming is not always cutting. It can be burning or bruising or, um, among cutting and scratching, and there are a lot of things that could fit in the self-harming category. And I scratch myself and I cut myself. That's my self-harming ordeal. I started self-harming about a year ago, before I even started getting depressed, and that I think I probably started becoming depressed around then, but I didn't know it. Um, Showing more symptoms of depression. I just didn't know it yet. Um, so I think that that kind of tipped off all my psychiatrists and stuff about when I started becoming depressed. Um, I it started My self harming started out because I have a very painful knee problem, um, and I used to scratch myself. I used to dig my fingernail into the second crease on my thumb to divert myself from the pain in my knees, and it wasn't even to hurt myself. It was to distract myself, to make a pain that's worse than in my knees. And it wasn't even worse, it just was more sharp and apparent, kind of, than the pain in my knees. Um, so maybe in early December, I started using a knife to cut. I cut on my wrist. The scars are fading, but I cut on my wrist, and I only confided in one person, a good friend of mine who we're kind of growing apart a little bit now, which is unfortunate. But we got in kind of an argument, but that's a different story. I confided in her that I had been cutting, and she was cutting too. She had been cutting for longer. Um, but yeah, I sometimes used a pair of tweezers, sometimes a pair of scissors, everything. So then when I went to the hospital, it was very unusual for me because I couldn't wear my bracelets because I didn't have my bracelets. They wouldn't give them to me. So everyone could see my scars and my cuts. And I wasn't even embarrassed because there were other people who had that too. And I felt very open about it and that I could share more about it now that everyone could see them. And like at home, no one knew I cut, so I felt like I couldn't talk about it. Like I couldn't talk about it because no one knew, and then it's like I cut myself, and it's like, oh my god, everyone would just freak out. So I, yeah, I felt much more open about it at the hospital. So when I got out of the hospital, I was still cutting, and they're pretty much okay with that, because they can't expect you to give up cutting right away because it's an addiction. So you can't just stop. So feeling a little bit more free with my cutting, I started cutting on my arm a little bit, just scratches, and then I started cutting on my legs, and it looks pretty bad on my legs. Um, they're drawn in shapes and words, so it's not. I can't use the excuse that my cat scratched me. Um, and I, I went to the beach with a lot of friends, and I took off my pants, and I was just wearing a bathing suit, and I was mortified that everyone saw my scars and my scratches, and I mean, like, they all knew I cut by then because they all knew I was in the hospital, and I was mortified that they had seen them, and I was so embarrassed. And so self harming, for those of you who self harm, um, I like when you should be open about it after people know about it. Like when people find out, and you should tell someone. You should at least tell one person, even if you don't tell your parents or your siblings or your friends. Tell one person, even if that's like an internet stranger. And I'm always here. I'm always here for you. You can talk to me about it because I understand and I know what it's like. Let's just get that like you can always talk to me. Um, and you should be open about it and why you cut or why you self harm. I mean, I'm sorry. Why you self harm and what makes you do that and what triggers you to want to self harm and you need to be open about it, because then you're going to build, if you're not open about it, you're going to build up inside. Everything's just going to build up, and then you're going to cut more, and it's dangerous to cut because you could get infected. If you slit your wrists, you could die, and no one wants that. No one wants you to die. No one, not one single person. I can promise you that. And so just be open about it with one person, and it's okay to, if someone knows about it, if, like, even if they know you cut, you can just share, like, what makes you cut, even if it's gory. It's like, I hate myself so much, I want to hurt myself, I want to maim myself, I want to feel the pain because I know I deserve it. They can take that because they know you're hurting yourself, and I can take it. You can always talk to me. I know I always said that, but I can't put that out there enough. You can always talk to me. So self-harming, I thought it wasn't a big deal when I was doing it. I thought that, like, I didn't really think it was some kind of common action, but I often went on a website called 6billionsecrets.com. I'll post a link to it later. It's people share stories about their secrets about depression, relationship problems, rape, molestation, death, everything. Friendship problems. It's just, they post about everything, and I highly recommend the site. And a lot of people posted about self-harming, and so I kind of thought it was not normal, but something that's, like, kind of okay to do. And it's not okay, not for anyone. No one, it's not okay. And if you're doing that, you need to stop right now. And I understand that's an addiction that you can't stop like that, because I can't, and I'm trying to. But if you need to say something about it, just talk to me. Just inbox me. Just talk to me any way you can, because I'm totally 100% here for you. Self-harming, so I thought it wasn't really a big deal, but then when I went to the hospital, I realized, like, I'm hurting myself. I'm taking a knife and dragging it across my skin for the purpose to draw blood, make scars, and to feel the pain. And that's, like, a huge deal there, because, like, not everyone there self-harms. And, like, I mean, some people do. About half of us did. But, I mean, it's, like, some kind of huge sinking deal. And I realize now how big a deal that is, especially among my friends, because they don't want me to cut. My parents don't. And it's a huge problem. And it's an addiction. You can't let it out of hand, like mine is getting, or has gotten. So that's, so self-harming, it's just, don't do it. that's really what it boils down to. Don't do it, please. Please don't do anything to yourself. I'm kind of being a hypocrite, but I'm stopping. I'm going to stop, and I'm stopping for you. I'm stopping for my friends. I'm stopping for my parents. I'm stopping for myself. And I would be ecstatic if you told me you were stopping, if you do that. And I'll be here with you 100% of the way through your stopping. So, about being open about self-harming, showing the actual scars might freak people out a little bit. I think you should feel comfortable sharing it with your friends, boyfriend or girlfriend, parents, but, like, in public, keep in mind that some people get freaked out seeing scars. I know when I went to the beach with my friends, people gave me some weird looks at my legs. Yeah, keep that in mind. And yes, about stopping, people use different ways to stop. Some people just try to cut themselves off from it. That was kind of ironic. Some people do the Butterfly Project, like what I'm doing. Click on my link to the Butterfly Project if you want to know more about what that's about. there's a lot of ways people can stop self-harming, and self-harming is essentially a coping skill what people use to deal with their lives. That's what I did, and that's what I'm still doing. It's a coping skill. It's what you use to deal. So, but there are other ways to deal. Keep that in mind. There are other ways, like if you could write, draw, play music, listen to music. There, make origami figures. There's so many things you could do besides, cutting or self-harming. So yeah, and about being different from everyone else in that sense of cutting, I'm pretty much the only kid at my current outpatient therapy, group therapy that I go to. Excuse me. I'm like that kid who cuts. I mean, like some of the others are there for self-harming, but I'm mostly there for self-harming, like, because I say, like, every time I go there, like, I had another self-harming episode. And, they talk me through it. They want to know why, what triggered me to do it, and everything. And, yeah, I talk about it, and that's mostly what I talk about. And for me, it's caused by my anxiety and depression and, well, kind of obviously. But it's mostly what I talk about. I'm that kid who cuts. And I gotta say, I don't really like being that one kid who cuts, but, it's my role generally in this. So I'm pretty much okay with that right now. I'd rather not be like that. I don't want other people to cut, but, I feel like I'm kind of vulnerable, and everyone's like, oh, poor kid, cutting herself. So, yeah, I don't really like being in that position. But, yeah, that's kind of my spiel on self-harming. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please inbox me. Um, Anything, just talk to me. I'm thinking about sharing an email that I'll create later, for people for when I get put on Ask Lynette. Thank you for watching, and I just want to remind everyone that you're beautiful, you're smart, you're amazing, you're perfect. You're lovely. That's what you are, and you're completely lovely, and keep that in mind. And I've said this like so many times, but I cannot stress enough, I'm always here for you. And I'll be making another video tomorrow, maybe even later today if I'm bored. And thank you for watching. Just please, if you feel like hurting yourself or killing yourself, or if you're feeling depressed, please call 1-800-SUICIDE, because they will help you. And if you are seriously thinking that you are going to kill yourself, go to your nearest emergency room. Do that right now. And if you need to talk to someone, talk to someone, I'm here. I'm right here for you. Always. I've got open ears. I don't judge. And I'm always here for you. I can't stress that enough. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting